Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to our Batman v Superman spoiler talk. We approach this a little bit differently where we ask 4 questions. Because of the length of this podcast, we decided I'm going to timestamp the 4 different questions in the description below so that you can skip ahead to the different parts that you may want to watch. The first question being, is this the best Batman? Did Gal Gadot crush it as Wonder Woman? What's with all the negative reviews with this movie, where we kind of talk about some of the issues, and are these issues and criticisms of this movie warranted? And then fourthly, what would you add to this movie to make it better? Also, you can join our closed Facebook group. It's a community that we're trying to build up where people are interested in the same stuff. That includes Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, obviously movies, and various comic book stuff. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you can go ahead and click the link to that in the description and apply to be in that. And we'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Hey, what's good, movie fans? This is the Campfire Crew, and we're here to finally talk about Batman v Superman. We got a few special guests on tonight in the afternoon. We're all over the world right now, so who knows what time it is really. First up, we've got Britton, aka the Nerdy Geek. He's been on here before. Britton, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yep, Britton, Nerdy Geek.
Yep.
Fun movie stuff.
Britton does movie. He does movie reviews. He does several different types of movie reviews, and when should you let your kid watch Pulp Fiction and stuff like that. So, interesting things going on over there. We also have another guest from down under. Was that a good accent?
Not bad.
No, basically not.
That was the worst thing I've ever heard.
And this is Adelle, a.k.a. Roll Credits. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please, ma'am.
Hello, it's Adelle from Roll Credits from Down Under.
She also does movie reviews. She does a little bit more of the indie films, Australian films, some of the films that are probably really art house, really good stuff that I have to go to her channel and find out, like, oh, okay, I need to go check that out. It should be pretty good. And then, last and least, Campfire Nate.
I'm here. I'm listening to Richie's very bad Australian accent and enjoying it as much as possible.
But look, we're going to talk about this. We're not going to just do your normal review. Normally how we do this, Britton knows how we roll. We like to ask a few questions and kind of keep it semi-structured, and then we kind of rant in between the questions about each topic. So we've got 4 questions that we're going to ask, and those questions are, is this the best Batman? Did Gal Gadot crush this as Wonder Woman? This is the first, iconic female superhero that we have gotten. So we're going to talk about her. And then why all the negative? Like, we're going to talk about the issues or non-issues that this film has and, everything that's going around about it. And then lastly, what would you add to this film to make it better? So first off, I would like to get everybody's, general thoughts, just, real briefly. Britton, what did you think about this film generally?
Generally, I liked it, I think. I didn't love it. It definitely has issues, but it was still a fun time at the movie theater. I walked out having a good time, but it definitely has a lot of issues.
I can concur to that to a certain degree. Adelle, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I really did enjoy it. I really did. But as someone who hasn't got sort of a really wider knowledge of the universe around the DC, especially when it comes to the comics and all of that, I'm not going to lie, I was a little confused at times. And in that, maybe the movie had quite too many flaws because, if someone gets confused, then they're not explaining things properly.
That's a good point. I know, Nate's probably the comic book expert, especially when it comes to Batman. He flips out every time Batman's mentioned. He gets all hyper excited and stuff. So, Nate, coming from somebody who loves Batman and knows a little bit about the comic books, what were your thoughts about this movie overall?
This movie was they decided to take about 5 or 6 really great story arcs in the comics, and we're going to shove them all together into one movie. And we're not going to explain them very well, but we're going to make people really confused. And when people get confused, they kind of automatically go to, I didn't like it because I don't understand it.
Right.
And that's why they got what they got.
Well,
but as a comic book fan, someone who enjoys the story arcs, I think this movie would have been great if it would have been 2 separate movies instead of what it was. And they could have left out some of the stuff because it really didn't have anything to do with, the particular way they were trying to go with it. But again, I just think they just shoved too much into one little package, plain and simple.
yeah, look, I stay away from reviews of all kinds until I see a film. It's real easy for a movie to get spoiled for me. Even if I hear somebody's natural opinion, that means I kind of go in. Unfortunately, I did hear somebody say they were disappointed, and so I was kind of upset. When I went in to watch it, I loved the first 2 acts. I say loved. I really enjoyed the first 2 acts of this film. I do like the back and forth that they did have, like showing Superman, showing Batman. And the third act kind of fell apart for me in a few different areas. And so there were definitely issues that I had with it. Nothing damaging, nothing that's like, the DCU's, done for Zack Snyder's garbage, like nothing to that extent. Just, I think overall people were so hyped up for this film that it didn't deliver the way they wanted it to. So naturally they kind of bash it. So we'll get more into that probably in the negative aspect. I don't want to spend too much time on it now, but we're going to go ahead and jump into this. Nate, can you lead off this one? Is that okay? Are you ready now? I'm gonna throw you this question.
I'm ready to catch it.
Is this the best Batman that we've ever had in film?
I'm gonna go off and I'm gonna say yes. I like Ben Affleck. I think Ben Affleck is probably the best of all the actors that they got to play him as far as the caliber of an actor. I liked the way he played Batman, and I've always had, even from the original Batmans, I've always kind of looked at them and say, well, they're a good Batman, but they're not a good Bruce Wayne. They kind of a weird Bruce Wayne, or they're really good Bruce Wayne, but not a good Batman. I felt like he kind of played both parts probably the best that they've been played up to this point. Now, of course, I like Michael Keaton, Michael Keaton. I like Christian Bale. Yeah, I like Christian Bale. They're good people. And they have their good moments as Batman. But I felt him as being Batman versus what I'm used to reading in the comics. So that's why I was like, man, he's playing Batman really good. Now, you didn't get to see a whole lot of him as Bruce Wayne. I mean, you did, but I mean, like out in public trying to portray Bruce Wayne. But I still feel like the way he portrayed himself was kind of that, nonchalant. I'm a billionaire, but I'm just kind of going to do what I'm going to do. But he's still he just looked the part, and he kind of, way he spoke to people. I guess that he felt like the comics, and that's why I felt like he did the better job.
So that's an interesting point. It's something I don't think I've heard yet. Again, referencing back to the comics, like this is almost right off the page, right out of the comic books type of Batman / Bruce Wayne that we got in this film. Adelle, what do you think? Is this the best Batman to you?
Well, for me, the Christopher Nolan Batman, Christian Bale's Batman is the first big, major introduction to Batman on screen that I've had. So but having said that, I did really like seeing an older, more sort of world-weary Ben Affleck Batman. So that he's, been in it for so long, and he's just, it's a whole different aspect of the Batman character that I wasn't expecting to see in this movie, and I did like that. So
it definitely is a different take, because this might be the oldest portrayed Batman I guess we've seen. It had to be. I mean, you get some of his, you don't get his backstory, but he ain't down for the BS no more. Like, he ain't got time for no bull crap. I'm too old for this. It's like Lethal Weapon. I'm too old for this crap. I gotta handle business and get it over with so I can go back to my mansion and, sleep in my glass building that I got by the lake. Britton, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, man, on the Affleck? Did you hate Affleck Come on, you know, a lot of people was flipping
not
out.
At all. I thought Affleck was always going to do a good job.
Okay.
I didn't mind the casting when it was announced. I thought he was fine choice. So I thought he was going to do a good job. I mean, he'd already come off of Argo and directing. I thought it was a good addition to Batman vs Superman. Is he the best? He's right up there, probably close to Christian Bale, but
I thought you were about to say he's in the top 5.
My favorite's got to be Adam West. I mean, you know, got to go with the 60s.
Exactly, right?
Blue tights. But no, I don't know if I can pick between Bale and Affleck. Yeah, I want to see more of Affleck. And in the movie, that's what the movie did a really good job on, I think, is in tantalizing with more. Like, you want to see more of Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. You want to see more of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. You want to see more. I mean, I still want to see more of Henry Cavill as Superman. So I think that's one thing that the movie did well.
I think so too. I mean, some people say it was the best part of the film was Ben Affleck. As far as when it was announced, I wasn't either way. I was kind of like, that's interesting. Like, I'd like to see that play out. I never really panic normally, unless it's an actor I can't stand, gets cast for something. But I wasn't flipping out like everybody else was, because I had faith in his ability, because I've seen him recently, like you said, in some of these other movies. So I thought he might be able to pull it off. For me, is he the best Batman? Compared to Christian Bale, he would snap Christian Bale's Batman in half. I mean, if they were to fight, Christian Bale's dead. Christian Bale's Batman is getting done for. I'm sorry. This man was doing prison workouts in the film. I don't know what he was taking for this, but as far as Batman goes, like the look, the best looking Batman we've had, Bruce Wayne, like you, Brent, I need to see a little bit more, because, look, I love my Michael Keaton Batman, okay? I love his Bruce Wayne. Right now, for me, he's still the best Bruce Wayne. And I'll tell you why. And it's just because we haven't seen enough of Ben Affleck as Batman yet. But it's the detective aspect. You know, that's what makes him Batman for the most part, is his deduction, his ability to figure things out and be a step ahead of his opponent. Batman in this film got played like a punk. Lex Luthor had him all kinds of jacked up, sending him letters and stuff. So he wasn't able to really figure that out and see that, versus like Michael Keaton with the Joker, he was able to figure out his combination to the cosmetics that was jacking people up, right? Like, he figured that out. And so I like that a lot. So for me, Michael Keaton, Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck, Batman for right now. If we get which we're going to, the standalone directed Ben Affleck version, he might elevate Batman to a level that's going to be hard to reach for people to follow for some time. So those are kind of my general consensus on that. Y'all let us know, for the people watching this, let us know what you think. Is Ben Affleck the best Batman that you've seen on film? Now, there was, when they first showed him and he was up in that corner and he spun out of that room or something, I was like, yo, that dude's creepy.
Cool. That was so cool. Yeah.
Oh, I liked it. I was like, the sound they had, he was like a bat. Very nimble.
Yeah, somewhat horror fan jump scare almost. It was a good scene, good opening scene.
It was that scene, and then the very end when he was standing in the jail cell. I wet myself a little bit. That was creepy when he was standing there, and I was just like, this dude is creepy. Batman's never creeped me out, like, and I feel like that's the feel that you want from Batman, right? Like, you want to feel scared.
Yeah, because I mean, you're not in the comics. That's the whole thing. It's like, you're scaring criminals, man. I mean, if I was a criminal and some dude jumped out in a suit, I'd be like, man, I'm not scared of this guy. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not. The whole thing is the fear. You know, he brings this fear into people. You know, and they did a really good job of making him very scary at moments in the movie.
Oh yeah, because he was blowing people. He was blowing people up and taking cars out and everything. I'd be scared of him too. I'm not messing with this Batman. Let's move on to the next question, and I got this question especially for Adelle, because Adelle, I know you like a strong female performance. All right, I know you're on that bandwagon, right? So,
you know it.
Gal Gadot, the first major superhero icon that we've had played by a woman that I can think of, and if I'm missing one, let me know. But I think this is the first one that's up there.
Is it? Yep.
What do you think?
Firstly, is that how you say her name? Gal Gadot?
How do you say it?
I've heard it 4 or 5 different ways.
How do you say it?
Gal Gadot? I don't know.
Gadot?
But regardless, she just...
Somebody will let us know.
She killed it.
I'm going to call her right now. Hold on. I'm going to get her on the phone right now.
Ask her.
How do you say your name again?
I thought she killed it. And
Okay.
I thought she did a really good job. And I was skeptical, really, because from the trailer, I wasn't really sure. I wasn't on board from the trailer. I wasn't on board with her. You know, that outfit is kind of hard to make look serious and threatening. That's not easy to make look threatening, right? But seriously, there's so much skin showing everywhere and a little leather.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, well.
She was wearing an outfit? What are you talking about?
She's standing there in her little outfit, and then the two, Batman and Superman are fully covered, from wrist to ankle. They're fully covered in suits, and she's just got skin going on everywhere. But I thought she did a really great job, and she did look threatening, and she did look like she was in control and powerful, and that she had that ability to her, which I thought was really cool.
I feel like you just called the Batman and Superman punk boys because they were completely decked out in armor, while the female was like, "You boys got all this armor? I'm just chilling out here in a skirt. Let's get this done."
She didn't need nothing.
She really didn't. So you think she crushed it as both characters as Wonder Woman and Diana?
Now, as Diana, I was really unsure about that whole situation and what her... See, I don't know much about her backstory, and then there was this photo that comes up about her in the past, and a lot of that was a little bit murky to me. I just had to kind of go with it. And they sort of gave her this like cat burglar type aspect as well, which I thought was a little bit odd. She's sort of skulking around the party trying to figure out what Lex has on her. I wasn't too sure about her as Diana, really, but I loved her as Wonder Woman.
For me, let me see. I didn't love her. I didn't hate her either. Like, I was like, you know what? She's serviceable. Like, I was I was concerned about her acting ability to pull off this role, just to be honest. There wasn't a time when I was watching this film where I felt like she took me out of the movie. Like, I don't know, man. She's not really hitting on anything, which is good for me not to notice that. Like, she wasn't in there stealing scenes up until the end. She had a cool part, but I was on board with her. I'm anxious to see the standalone. I will say that after seeing this, I'm like, you know what? I'm down. I want to see the standalone. I want to see more of her, because that way she'll really be able to flesh out the character, Wonder Woman and Diana, a lot more for me. So not a bad start. Not stealing scenes, but
because that character wasn't fleshed out whatsoever.
Right.
In that she was good as Wonder Woman, because you don't really need to get anything. She's just there on their team.
Beat him.
And then as Diana, there wasn't much there, and in her scenes, she wasn't really bringing anything, but she wasn't taking anything away either.
Yeah. Britton, what are your thoughts? Did you notice that she had skin showing? First of all, that's important.
I might have.
You might have.
Okay, before this, I saw a picture, and I'm pretty sure I saw it today. It was her standing next to Adams. What's her first name? The
Amy.
redhead, Lois.
Amy Adams.
First of all, she was towering over her, and then she been working out, man. Gal Gadot, however y'all want to say her name. She was stout. I was like, you know what? she kind of had, a nice little build in her arms. I was like, you know what? I believe she could swing a sword. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. So, Britton, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think I read somewhere that she put on 10, 15 pounds training for Wonder Woman. So I think, I think she's definitely been working out to beef up for the role. And her reveal as Wonder Woman in the movie was one of the best parts of the movie. I mean, her coming out and saving Batman at that point was fantastic. I liked her in the role. I thought she did a good job. I mean, she wasn't in it a whole lot, but I thought she did a good job. I liked her scenes as Diana as well, and I think it really did the job well of selling us on the movie that's coming out next year. I think it set up that movie really well. I liked the picture that they showed. It kind of, I'm a history nut, so I love history. So I love that it's going to be set in World War I. So I think that's a kind of an area. I mean, we get a bunch of World War II movies. We don't really get a lot of World War I movies and World War I stuff. So I'm kind of glad that they're going to that time period and not necessarily World War II. So I think that's kind of interesting.
Did you notice?
Yeah, I think.
Did you notice? You mentioned going back in time in the picture and stuff. Did you notice Chris Pine in the picture?
Yes. Yep.
I did not.
You call yourself a movie
he's on.
fan. Chris Pine was standing to our right, I believe, in the picture, which
I think so.
I think it was pretty cool.
Right or left or.
You know what would be really cool if in the standalone Wonder Woman they do they take that picture in the movie.
That would be awesome.
I think I would like that.
And
Nate,
the new picture they just released that had her and Robin Wright and a couple of the other people from the movie was a really cool image that they just released recently too.
Okay, I haven't seen that one yet. I'm going to have to get on that one. Nate, what do you think, man? You're you've been studying Diana, and Wonder Woman since you was in diapers. So how did she do?
Yeah. The thing about Wonder Woman, they've tried to put her on so
Don't
many
be a snob
times
either.
in different ways. No, listen to me though. They've been trying to put her on, like they've tried to do a TV show that got canceled. They've tried to do this, and I think the problem is that not enough like comic superhero stuff have been out enough to give like people that buzz. And now I feel like it's strong enough that girls deserve to have that strong character. And I mean, if there is one that's going to be the one, it's Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. So they had to get someone to play the part, and it was interesting because I felt like I wanted the standalone before I wanted her to show up in this, but they did a good job. Maybe one of the few things that they did that really kind of got you excited was when they introduced her in this. Another thing, when I left, I was like, God, I really want to see more of her. So that gets me that much more hyped for the Wonder Woman standalone movie. Probably more so than even I was before I saw this. So if that was a good job, then they did it. They got me really excited for Wonder Woman. I thought she did a great job in it. I think one of the things I liked the most, one of the things that got me when I was like, yeah, she's Wonder Woman, is during the fight when Doomsday like knocked her back and she kind of smiled. And she got that kind of smirk on her face and came back at him, dude. I was sold. At that moment, because any time in the comics, Wonder Woman kind of has this like she fights, but she kind of fights with this kind of like, I know I'm going to beat you kind of arrogance to her, and she's always kind of smirking and like fighting and everything. When she did that, it was over for me. I was like, I'm sold. You're Wonder Woman.
Okay, cool. Like I did notice that, but I didn't make any correlation to the comic books because I haven't read her other than the. Some of these Justice League you was cramming down my throat, making me read a few weeks ago.
Trying to get you prepared, man. I'm trying to get you prepared.
Right, I know. But that's interesting. So 3-4 different outlooks on this character. So I find that interesting. I think all in all, we all pretty much agree we're satisfied. Like nobody's disappointed at all with her character, and nobody's disappointed with Batman. So that's 2 of the big 3 in the film that we're 4 that we like. So let's move on to this third question, which is why all the negative, right? There's been a lot of negativity around this film. We've hinted at it a little bit at the beginning about some issues that we have. So now's the time to talk about our issues. Nate, you can go ahead and lead this one off. What were some of the issues, man? What's up with the negativity?
Well, I think the reason why people had like issues was again, they don't know like exactly like during the comics. They're not. They haven't read all these comics, so they don't really know like what they're trying to allude to. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
me.
you saw like you know things about Robin being possibly killed. You don't know what that's about. You don't know what's going on with some of the other scenes. I don't think they really realize that, and I think that was the problem. You have like two big story arcs in it. You got the death of Superman, which is a huge story arc in the comics, and then you have Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, and they kind of crammed a little bits of both of those into it. And I think that's the reason why people didn't pick up on that. As a comic book fan, I love those moments. I really enjoyed those parts of the movie, but I think a lot of people just didn't understand it and kind of were confused because it felt so kind of pieced together. And
Right.
I think that's
it was dense.
one of the
It was
biggest
definitely
issues.
dense, especially after the film. And I start hearing all these different things about what this scene meant and that scene. I was like, man, this thing was just layered, man. It was just stacked. So I mean, I could definitely see that. Obviously, that being an issue. Britton.
So my biggest thing is just some of the, not necessarily the story elements and meshing the comics together and being confused on what they're trying to sell with the different comic stuff, which I get. And there was a lot of stuff in there that, I mean, Easter egg stuff. I'm not a huge comic reader. I, just kind of started recently reading comics. The biggest thing that I had, there's story elements that didn't need to be in there that they could have taken out, and that would have really made, I think, the movie flow together better.
Yeah.
For example, the main crux of the Batman vs Superman fight is Superman destroys Metropolis, or because of the fight with Zod, that's why Bruce Wayne thinks that Superman should be put in check.
Right.
That's like the main argument or main reason why he wants to fight him. They go away from that. That should have been the Metropolis scene should have been the reason why he was called to Congress, not the going to the desert to save Lois. That didn't need, that whole
Right.
thread didn't need to be in there.
Yeah.
If they pulled that out, they could still have focused on the fight in Metropolis, and that could have been the storyline through, and it would have removed Lois's character of being kind of a damsel in distress. That was another one of my other big things. They didn't seem to know how to use Amy Adams as Lois Lane in the movie at all. The chemistry I thought
not
was
as
better.
effectively as they did in Man of Steel.
True. Yeah, and I thought her character was better in Man of Steel. The chemistry was better with her and Cavill and as Superman in this movie, but they just didn't. She was all over the place. She was, going to get the spear, but then she still has to be saved going to get the spear. I'm like, why couldn't she have just got the spear and put it up there and then okay, we're fine. She didn't need to be saved at that point either. So stuff like that could have just been pulled out, kind of tightened together. I think, like I said, like they could have made, just taking the stuff out from the desert, focus more on his destruction of Metropolis was why everybody's still worried about him, and they could have.
You're right as far as they're going away from Metropolis.
And then the dream sequences were cool, and I liked them, and I like what they're setting up, but they still, I mean, if you wanted to pull those out, and they didn't really necessarily serve this movie that much either.
Yeah, I don't think they served. No, I don't think those dream sequences really served this movie much at all. Maybe only to kind of solidify Batman's hatred, right? Like you kind of see, because you're kind of getting Batman out of character a little bit. So at least the desert scene, the Flash scene, that was put in after Zack Snyder started working on the Justice League, and he put it in there specifically for that movie. So it obviously wasn't for this one because it wasn't originally in the film. Now, the desert scene was random. I mean, like you said, it was cool, but it was just random.
It was random.
For it to be that kind of long. So I get that. Now, it's interesting that you say they didn't need to go to Africa to save Lois. And I agree with that. Now that you make that point, as far as they did, Man, we all know, man, they set that Metropolis thing up because of the backlash that they got from Man of Steel. Like, they was butthurt about him destroying that city, and so Warner Brothers' answer to that was, I think technically they was going to do a Man of Steel 2, but they're like, look, we got to fix Man of Steel 1, so let's bring in Batman and have him be upset with him for destroying the city. That's how we kind of bridge that gap. Now, I did like a scene from that desert. Like, that was one of my favorite scenes of this movie. I'm not even going to lie. It was the introduction of Superman. And when he come in, like, Lois, she's got, she's in the chokehold and she got the gun to her head. And then Superman just kind of lands. And, like, I got excited, bro. Like, I was excited. I loved how she instantly got calm, right? Like, she instantly just dropped her hands off this dude. And, like, her whole demeanor just got relaxed. She tilted her head a little bit and just kind of looked at Superman and just kind of gave him a nod. And I don't know why, like, I enjoyed that so much because, like, she had faith in her man. I was just, the whole time, right when Superman was flying in, I was like, oh, that's Bay. He coming. I just kept picturing her like this, mad black woman, like, that's my boo. Now what you gonna do? He coming in, got to get naked, hold my neck, got a gun in my head. He about to get you. Keep on, just Agatha, getting her man in a fight. And Superman just comes and handles business. So I did like that, but I agree with you. It wasn't necessary. Yeah. I just thought it was something that we got to see that we didn't already see in the trailers.
I've heard that scene is actually longer. So like the 3-hour cut that of deleted, like there's more in for that scene from some of the stuff I've read and heard. So that's a longer scene, so maybe that has more purpose and fits better into the movie with the extra content.
I think a lot of the extra content is going to fill in a lot of gaps. At least I'm hoping that it does.
True.
My negatives for this one were, to be honest with you, I think I think it was the marketing. I think the marketing set a precedent for this movie that let people go in thinking one thing and then they come out getting something else. And because of that, it really messed them up. Now, you heard, people were complaining about that one trailer. It's like, they literally showed the movie.
Yeah, I thought so.
They did. If you take that and all the other cuts and you put them together, I could probably piece together the whole Batman-Superman fight if you go back and think about it. And they hyped it up so much about Batman v Superman, Batman v Superman. This is all about Batman fights Superman. It builds up for the whole movie, and then you get an 8-minute fight right there at the end. And out of that 8-minute fight, you'd already pretty much seen the whole fight. Almost every awesome scene that was in this movie, I had already previously seen several times via the trailers. And it was almost like a YouTube clickbait, right? Like you're clicking it to get one thing, and when you go and watch it, you're disappointed because you're not getting what you think. Now, with that being said, people have been saying, like, I want to go back and watch it again. A lot of people have. Matter of fact, Nate, you was telling me tonight that, it's Kevin. Is it Kevin Smith? Was that his name? Anyway, went to go watch the movie a second time. Hated it the first time, enjoyed it the second time around. People were, like, changing their expectations, their mindset. Now that they know what they're getting, they're looking at the movie more objectively, and it's not as bad. Because every time people's like, I want to see Batman and Superman fight, and it never happens. And then when it finally does, there's no wow factor because we've already seen it. So many scenes in the trailer had me hype. Like, oh my goodness, that is amazing. I cannot wait to see that scene more, right? And all of the scenes I felt like they were really big were in there, minus the scene where Batman. Now this was cool, right? This is when Batman he was beating up Superman and he kept hitting him, and then as he kept hitting him, like Superman was getting his strength back, and then he just went to like not moving, and Batman was like, oh crap. Now that I liked, and you know why I liked it? Because I hadn't seen it before. And I thought that was really cool. So that was kind of my issue. One was the marketing, and then two, again, like I said, the third act. I thought Doomsday wasn't handled very well. All he did was stomp the ground and send out energy blasts and shoot stuff out of his mouth. I didn't particularly care about the super slow-mo that much. It really got 300-esque right there towards the end, even with the music and the score that was going on. But I don't know. Those were some of my issues. And again, like I said earlier, nothing shattering, nothing to really damage the movie. It's just, I bet you if I go back and watch it again, knowing what I know now, it'll probably be fine. Adele, what are your thoughts on it? I know you said you had some issues. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I definitely agree really a lot with Britton. I hadn't really thought about that desert scene, but now that you've mentioned it, just, it really did have no purpose, really, except to tie in Lex Luthor and his grand, manipulative plan. And on that, I also would have liked to have seen more of Lex's motivations, like a little bit more of his story to really flesh him a little bit out of as a character. So then again, that shows how there was just so much going on and so many different pieces of this puzzle. And in that, I think that Lex wasn't as effective as he could have been. And then when it comes to the time where he, births this, what's the...
Doomsday?
Doomsday. There just could have been more to it, and Lex could have been more invested in Doomsday and a part of maybe that more. And that would have given Doomsday more weight and made him more effective. I would have liked to have seen, especially in a time now where our villains in our superhero movies are so well fleshed out, and that's what you love to see, because the way they pitted Superman against Batman, is one a good guy, which one's the villain, that kind of thing. There almost wasn't room to put Lex in there as well as the puppet master and really give him motivation for his actions. He's just manipulating them because he can, but it's kind of like, well, why?
And that's a good point. Like earlier on, I was wondering, like, and even in the trailers, he was so upset about, like, he, if man won't destroy God, or then whatever, then the beast will, the devil will. I was wondering, I was like, why does he just hate Superman so much? Like, what has, at least we get it from Bruce Wayne, like, we saw what he did, and they built that up, but why, like, what is it about Lex? And Nate, I'm sure you're going to tell me why. Now, I know there was a deleted scene that was going around that helped with his character. It probably would have left people more confused, but it was a scene having to do with Dark. I almost said it, Nate. I swear, I almost called him Dark Seed.
Dark Side.
Or Dark Side, yeah. Because I always think of the spelling. But anyway, there was a scene where all that information, I think was what it was, with these mother boxes, kind of got downloaded into Lex's brain. That's why he kind of flipped the script and went like super crazy mode while he was in Zod's ship. But up until that point, I was confused as to why he wanted the mayhem. So why, Nate? Nate, why?
Yeah, why?
Well,
tell us, Nate. Why?
The thing in the comics about him is that he is this powerful person who can attain the amount of power where he can influence all these things. He has all that power. Then a person comes down that has physical capabilities he can't even get. So he instantly hates him and wants to destroy him. Like, that's just how it's basically jealousy. Like,
so it's an alpha male syndrome type of deal.
Whereas for a human, he has obtained the everything he could possibly want, and then Superman comes in, he can't have it. In the comics, he tries to make Superman, work with him. Like, he's like, hey, come work with me or whatever, and he's like, no, I'm not working with you. So then it becomes, well, if you're not with me, then you're against me, and I'm going to destroy you.
See, that would have been so cool to see Lex try and reach out to Superman and try and get him on board, and then when he's rejected, for him to just go full mode jealousy. Yeah, just that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they didn't develop that at all. I guess whatever their mindset was, hey, everybody who's ever read a comic knows everything there is to be about Superman and Lex Luthor's relationship. We're just going to skip that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that's, you hear it all the time, man, right? Like, we all watch a lot of movies, and you hear it in chat, and you hear it in messages, you see it on Twitter. Why don't they stick more to to the source material. They need to make source material. Wait, and you hear the argument. It's like, this is a different medium, and you have to cater to the movie. You know, what's going to make a good movie? What makes a really good comic book or a good TV show might not make a good movie, because it's just different. And you can draw from inspiration from this, but ultimately, let's focus on that first. And if I have to be a comic book guru to watch this movie and understand it fully, I think they dropped the ball on that. And the right way to do it is to make your movie good so that people like Adele can go watch it, understand every bit of it, and like it. But then for the comic book fan can go and be like, yo, did you see that picture? Did you see that Omega sign? Yo, did you know those were parademons that were popping up in that scene? You know, and they can get an extra level of excitement, just like we talked about with Star Wars, right? If you've read the comics and you've read some of the books that go with the canon now and you're watching the movie, you might see some of these elements that make you excited. But if you don't recognize it, it doesn't affect the movie at all.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I really do. Because, you know, finding out those Easter eggs, even for me, if I don't see them in the movie and afterwards in conversation and through articles, you find those Easter eggs or you read about them and then you think back, you know, retrospectively, oh yeah, I saw that. Is that what that means? A few of those, you know, can be really cool, but when there's so much that, for example, that whole Robin thing, like didn't even see that. I didn't even know what he was doing down there. And then he looks at that suit and I had no idea what that was.
What is this?
That
was he red at one time?
That was an odd thing to do. And now it all makes sense. Whereas if that had just been in the background, then that would have been a cool little Easter egg, or, you know, or just a bit. But the fact that he looks at it, and I sort of am trying to think, oh, how is it
connected to this movie when it's not really connected to this movie, other than it puts us in the mindset of Bruce Wayne and how torn and broken down he is at this point in his life. But yeah, it didn't really.
But I didn't know whose suit that was.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
I didn't know what that was at all.
Oh.
So no.
That's kind of a big one, though, Adele. That was kind of. That's not like an Omega sign. That's kind of like Batman and Robin. But yeah, I get it though. I mean, there was a lot. There was a lot in this. But overall, I don't think the negatives outweighed the positives per se. I mean, every film has its issues. I just think because we were so hyped for this movie, it just didn't deliver like we expected it to, and people were disappointed. And I think that was the main thing, to be honest. I don't know. It ain't my favorite. It was like Man of Steel. I like Man of Steel. I watched it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best movie I watched that year. I was wanting this movie to be one of the best movies. I wanted to walk out of this movie with the same excitement I walked out of the first Avengers. I walked out of the first Avengers just like, that movie was so awesome. There were so many awesome scenes. Did you see this? Did you see that? And I went back and watched it the very next day. This movie didn't do that for me. This movie was kind of a letdown. So, I don't know. That's kind of the negative spot. So let's move on to what would have made this movie better in your eyes. If you could add something to this film, if you could add a scene, anything you wanted, you're a director now, full control. What would you do? I'm going to start this question off. Excuse me. I'm going to start this question off, and I'm going to go crazy, right? You heard my complaints, which was I'd already seen, there were no wow factors in this movie because I'd seen most of them already, at least the scenes that I thought were awesome I'd already watched. So I'm going to throw in another awesome scene that also would have spruced up the end, okay? This is Dawn of Justice. We are trying to, introduce the Justice League, which, by the way, I thought they did a really nice job subtly bringing in. I know some people had complaints with it, but I personally did not. I knew for a long time they was going to have Cyborg, The Flash, and Aquaman in this movie, and I was concerned that it was just too much. I was like, yo, this is too much. How are they going to do that? The way they introduced it, I was fine with. It was just a little snippet of each one of them to kind of let you know, like, hey, these guys are coming. Here's what I add to the movie. I didn't care for the Doomsday fight. Batman can't really do much to Doomsday. He was just running the whole time, and then, he shot a little grenade at him. I did like how Wonder Woman hit him with the lasso. Sorry. I did like how Wonder Woman hit him with the lasso. I thought that was awesome. Had him tied down. And what I would have liked, Batman hits Doomsday with the little kryptonite gas bomb he made. Wonder Woman ties him down. And then I'm pretty sure they were fighting by water. So who shows up? Aquaman. Right? He don't got to talk. I don't need to see him talk. He literally can show up for 10 seconds. He shows up with a tidal wave. I don't know what he does. He does what Aquaman does, right? Something powerful to affect Doomsday, distract him or something, right? And then here comes Superman with the kryptonite spear. And he goes to, I don't know, throw it or something to try to get it to Doomsday. But he's weak, right? He can't do it. Superman's weak. Got kryptonite. He's holding on to it. So what happens? Here comes the Flash. Yeah, the Flash just zooms in. He takes the spear, and then he finishes the throw for him and hits him Doomsday. And then he just runs across, and he stops. And he looks at everybody, and everybody's freaking out like, who is this dude? And then he just runs off. What does Aquaman do? All right, guys, I'm out. I got like the rest of the sea to patrol. Y'all got this from here. I'm out. And like he just disappears. He doesn't say that, but that's it. You get these characters for 2 seconds. I'm freaking out the whole time because I'm bored up until this point. I'm like, yo, did you just see the Flash? Did you just see Aquaman? I'm spazzing out right now. And, yeah. I don't know. That's what I would have added, man. Tell me they don't sound awesome. Y'all would have liked it. Zach, call me. Call me up. I'll hook you up with Justice League. I'll tell you which. I'll give you some hints. I don't know anything. Nate, what would you add? What would you add to this film, man?
I would take this film and I would cut it into 2 different movies. Okay, that's what I would do. I would have a Superman movie.
I thought you was about to say I was going to take your scene and throw it in the garbage. And then
No, I would take, first off, I would take the Superman and I would make Superman movie. Okay? Plain and simple. Movie about Superman, about all the collateral that's going on, that it has nothing to do but just like the government trying to get involved and prevent him. Behind the scenes, you have Lex Luthor. Have some scenes where you realize the depth between Lex Luthor and with Superman. And that's all that's in the movie. Lex Luthor, Superman, comes to the end, might have a fight. And that's when the moment when you can have your guys that come up and help Superman. Okay? And that's it. It doesn't even have to be Doomsday. Just something at the end. And if you're going to go with the death of Superman route, then you need to have an epic battle with Doomsday because that's what takes place in the comics. And this literally, Superman fought Doomsday for literally like 30 seconds in this movie. So there was no, you didn't have that epic battle. I mean, in the comics, it was like 2 comics long of him fighting Doomsday and fighting Doomsday. It was huge. So take that into a movie. Then the second movie. The movie could be a complete setup for Justice League. Okay? Plain and simple. That's all it could be. It could be all the little setups, all the little stuff, all tied together and all put together into a movie.
Okay, so Nate's idea is to scrap the movie completely and make 2 completely new movies. Yeah,
I like that.
Nate always does that, man. Every time I ask Nate like, yo, you got 1 answer. Nate's like, nah, fool, I got 5 answers, and here they are. Start from scratch. Adele.
Yeah, I'm would be on board with Nate's idea. I like that a lot.
Oh, no.
Did we lose him?
I just lost. Oh, that's terrible. We was right in the home stretch. Well, at least Nate gave his answers.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
That completely jacked up. Oh, man, that completely jacked up the recording, though.
Shall I add him again?
Well, yeah, you can try to add him. I bet you his computer died. I bet you that fool... We'll just keep going, man. We'll keep rolling. People watching this, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay, there he goes.
Well, I'm trying to give him a call. We'll see.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was on board with his answer about splitting into 2 movies. That's a good suggestion. A very good suggestion. But if I could change one thing, it would be to give Lex Luthor more to do and to really make him a menacing villain, as opposed to just this sort of puppet master in the wings who's behind everything, but we only really see him here and there and aren't really quite sure, apart from the fact that he's batshit crazy, why he's so personally invested in bringing down these heroes.
There's a good point. And on top of being crazy, he's got a lot of pee because he filled that jar up. I'm like, this fool must have not peed for 3 days, and I'm saving all my pee right now.
That was one of my favorite scenes. I think just that moment of her realizing what was peach tea, and then the explosion and Superman's face post-explosion was just awesome.
It was great. It really was. And that's
really
why I said I love the first 2 acts, because I didn't see that coming, and like you said, at the turn, and with him standing, just like you said, with him standing in the fire, I was just like, oh man,
still, everything's burning around him, and it's just that look on his face. He's like, I knew it,
Yep.
Let's see. For me, I think I would add a better resolution to the fight between Batman and Superman. Instead of, our mommies have the same name, so we can be best buds now.
Oh.
That bugs me.
It really.
Man, Bruce hates this guy.
Yeah.
But his mom's got the same name as my dead mom, so we can be best buds now, and I'll go save her.
Yeah.
I think
I get it, but I wanted something more there, or maybe even just another conversation. Have throughout their fight, have Superman try to say more. Hey, Bruce, I'm trying to not fight you. I need your help. We're being manipulated. Trying to get through to him more, or even during that in-fight scene, trying to get through to him. Something we're being manipulated, trying to tell him more about it until that end, or maybe even having a fight or a conversation about the situation after they're done with the fight, or something a little bit more to build that resolution.
Other than
needed, I think.
Our mama's got the same name. I think everybody come out with that same. I don't know if they thought they was going to get over on us, they was just going to slide under the radar and wasn't nobody going to pick up on that. But I literally walked out. I was talking to my buddy who went with me, and we brought that up. It was just like, you had Christian Bale. He does the "Where is she?" Everybody mimics that. Now in this one, it's just like, why did you say her name? Why did you say Martha? Yeah, it was so funny. It was like Martha, and Batman's like, you talk about my mama? No, man, that's my mama. My mama named Martha too. Where your mama Martha too? Boy, we tight. I'm just going to put this spear down I made. I'm about to stab you through the heart. We cool. Let me throw it down. So that's funny. So I guess that's how we make the movie better. We have some good ideas. I think all of us should come together and make a movie. It would be amazing. It would be so awesome. So guys watching this, I apologize that the end of this just went foobar. There's nothing I can do about it. The way that I have everything cropped is when he dropped the call, it shifted everything. So I got Adelle half over here in the screen, and
shall I move?
Her shoulder. Yeah, if you come back a little bit to your right there, and then if you come down a hair, beautiful, beautiful. We're set up. I had to move Britton down a box, but whatever. Maybe I put a picture over this when I record, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the spoiler talk and us kind of talking Batman v Superman in a little bit more of a unique fashion than just a regular spoiler. I had a good time tonight. Go and check these guys' channels out. I'm going to put a link in the description to Roll Credits and then Nerdy Geek. And then you're on our channel, so if you're on our channel and you're new, then hit the subscribe button, bro, and come back and listen to some more craziness. We will be doing this again, at least on this channel. Be talking Civil War. Willing to bet I'm probably going to like that movie a little bit better, and I'm really excited to do that. I actually think I got, y'all mentioned Collider and stuff. I actually think I got JTE told me he wanted to be on. So he's going to be popping on when I do Civil War. So I think that's pretty cool. So I grabbed him up. So guys, subscribe so you don't miss any of that. Anyway, comment, man. Get in a conversation. Jump down to the comment section. Let us know what you think. I do want to thank roll credits, Adelle, Nerdy Geek, Britton. Like you've seen him before. Adelle, I'd love to have you on again sometime.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'd love to come on again. It's great to have a chat. And I think it's my dinner time now.
Yeah, it probably is your dinner time, and it is 3 o'clock in the morning for me, so that's my midnight snack time, I guess. I'm like the gremlins over here. I need to eat. But guys, we're wrapping this video up. Thank y'all for joining us, and if the video's laggy, whatever, man, just listen to our voices. It's awesome. Until next time, guys, we're out.
Later.